It means that my son didn't die in vain. He loved this place, and I see why now. He loved the bonfire, and I see why now.
And it was something, an activity that they really enjoyed, and they took part in wholeheartedly. Unfortunately, it took Michael's life.
But the Aggie family is keeping the promise that they made 10 years ago, the promise that they'd never forget.
On November 18th, 1999, at 2:42 a.m., the bonfire stack collapsed after 92 years since the first burn. The collapse killed 12 students and injured 27 others. The tragedy was a dark chapter in the university's history, but light shined as tens of thousands of people united for a candlelight vigil. It was a statement that the memories and love for the Aggies who were lost could never be extinguished.
10 years. As I prepared for this speech, I sat there again in the late evening hours in mid-November in front of the baleful glow of the computer screen, just as I sat in this chair 10 years ago completing a presentation for work, not knowing the events that were unfolding 90 miles to the north. I'd considered calling Scott that evening to firm up plans for the upcoming visit to A&M to witness our first bonfire. It was late. I didn't make the call. After all, he had called and left a message. "Hi, Dad, it's me, Scott." I always smiled at that. Who else called at 10 o'clock at night and called me Dad? I think I'm going to be perimeter guard again this year. Are you still coming up to bonfire? I'll call you again and we can set it all up. Bonfire is going to be really great this year. Gotta go by. Now I'm writing a speech in remembrance, wishing I'd made that call. Should I describe the devastated look on Dr. Sutherland's face as he delivered the awful news to the three of us, or the tears in the eyes of the three cadets as they stood as we passed on the way to the parents' room in the MSC? Should I emphasize the strength we received from the students that gathered in prayer around Rudder Tower at the same time that Dr. Sutherland spoke to us, and God reached out with His comforting grace that afternoon through the kindness of the Aggie family and the staff at A&M? Should I speak of the heart of Aggie land that was poured out all along the orange plastic fence that surrounded the disassembled stack, or the single, quiet voice that first began to sing Amazing Grace, which swelled through this very arena at the first memorial gathering? All these things I considered as I sat struggling to put words on these pages. Then I remembered one event, a small thing, that seemed inconsequential at the time, but has remained on my heart. Two members of the Corps cadets, resplendent in their uniforms, entered and nodded. I am sure they did not know who I was. I never saw their faces, only their silhouettes as they walked toward the far door. One was short and the other taller, and they talked quietly as they walked. The one removed his cover and rubbed the stubble of his hair. He sighed and said, "I'm tired of being sad. When will it be happy? Time to be happy again." His buddy gripped his shoulders and said, "I don't know. Soon, I think." Ladies and gentlemen, Aggies, when you go and stand in the portals of the Bonfire Memorial, you will see that the lives of those memorialized there speak to the promises and the dreams of the future shared by all Aggies and not the sadness of the past. Look into their faces. See that your possibilities extend beyond the ring. Aggies, when the rigors of your tenure at this great institution get you down, go visit the portals and rest inside, and know that the faith that sustained us is there for you. When you need to speak to someone, go sit and talk to them. They will listen. When you are tired, go sit and draw strength from the entire Aggie family as represented by the ring. Go stand in the portals. Read of the dreams and the promise of those lives ended that night. Realize that you stand in for them in a small part, and that we take pride in your achievements and your successes. It is time to be happy and to celebrate the memories. The fire may not burn on that spot, but the fire still burns, and it burns in the heart of all Aggies. I knew as I typed that I had exceeded my time allotment, and the night had only grown darker. I still sit at the old roll-top desk in front of the computer, wishing the phone would ring so I could hear, "Hi, Dad, it's me." I will close with a small word which now conveys large meaning, a small word that echoes daily throughout Aggie land, a word which speaks of the promise of friendship old and new, and a word of greeting of the Aggie spirit. I'm sure that when I began, many thought I had forgotten to honor the tradition of its use. But no, now I wish to use it to honor your future. Howdy.
There's a spirit can ne'er be told. It's the spirit of Aggie land. We are the Aggies are we. True to each other as Aggies can be. We've got to fight, boys, we've got to fight. We've got to fight for Maroon.